Hi everybody and welcome to a new video for No Dimension channel. Today I will talk about a very useful tool which is named Morphline and how we can integrate this tool to be used in our Flume files, Flume properties. The idea is enrich our data events with some extra data, adding, transforming, parsing, or even removing or changing some data in our events. But let me introduce in the problem that that is common when we investigate about Morphlines. If you search information about Morphlines and how we can integrate this into our Flume, you will find several information, several blogs like this, which is a Cloudera blogs, which explain how to integrate our Morphlines using Solr and putting information in different kind of things. Sorry. But what happens if you don't want to use Solr? What happens if you have a different sync? You don't need to use Morphline in a sync. You need to use Morphline You need to use Morphline as an interceptor. That is not so straightforward. But in this video I will show how to download the source code, how to create the packages, and how to integrate with our Flume property file to catch events and enrich the data that comes in those data events. Remember the basic flow of a source. When receive events, the source sends this event to the channel processor, and then the batch of events could pass through different interceptors. And remember that the output of one interceptor is the input of the next in the chain, and in the end the last interceptor will apply some changes on the events and will back to the channel processor. The rest of the flow you could read in my post, but basically we will see how to integrate Morphline as an interceptor, and let me show you how will be the code using a Morphline interceptor. This will be the final Flume property file. Don't worry if you don't understand something, but basically is an agent defined with the source, the channel, and the sinks. But instead to define Morphline in a sync, which is the common use case, and actually is the case defined in the Cloudera blog, I will show you how to integrate Morphline in the interceptor for the source. And look at this part. Here is the most important part. I will show you how to download the code, the source code, how to build or how to package the jars, and how to integrate that jars as a plugin into Morphline or Flume, sorry, and how to plug these Morphline jars, and how we use that, and finally we will store the information in an HDFS. So look at this. This is Morphline is part of a Kite project, which is a Cloudera project, and as you can see in the GitHub page, we have several projects in the Kite level. So we are interested in Morphlines. We will need, first of all, we will need to have an account in GitHub. I have an account. So the next step is create a fork for this path in the GitHub. I created my fork, and then you are ready to clone this repository. Just go to clone or download, copy this URL, and I will create a folder here which will name kite, and look at how easy is clone the repository. Git clone and this will take several minutes. I will pause the video and recover when it's downloaded. Now the download finished, I will move to the directory in which I download the repository, which is kite, and as you can see here, there are all of the different projects. I'm interested in this project, which is Morphline, obviously, because we are working with this. CD kite Morphline, and look at this. Here I have the POM XML, and I will create all the different jars making a Maven install. One requisite is that you need to have installed in your machine the JDK or the Java Development Kit 1.7 or 1.8, and you need to have Maven installed too in order to create all the needed jars. I think that there are another ways to download the ready jars instead to create, but I prefer this way because you are working directly with the source code, and you will have the latest version of this project. One comment before to start: look at that we have several kind of Morphlines. We have the kind Morphline all. We have the core here. We have a lot of flavors of Morphline. It depends on the situation. What do you need to use? In this case, I will use Morphlines all. But let's create a different package. Let's use Maven install. This is in the documentation, as you can see here. If you search how to create the jars, Maven install, I will put the skip test and enter. This will skip the test. Sorry, but I need to clarify that. So this will take several minutes. Maybe if you don't have the dependencies, it will start to download all the needed dependencies to create the jars for all of those projects. I will stop the video here and start again once this finishes. Okay, now the Maven install finishes, and I'm interested to show you this. Let's move to this folder or this directory, CDKite all, into the target subdirectory. Here I have the jar generated, and inside lib I have all the libraries that are needed to create the jar. Why I mention this? Okay, I'm mentioning this because I will need to copy this file or this jar and all the needed dependencies when I will to integrate into our Flume plugin. So, according to the official documentation, here's the URL. The plugins that we'll use from third parties, it should be put under a folder. Look at this, into Flume Home Plugins D. But this Plugins D directory has have a specific structure. Every plugin that we will put here should be in a folder with 3 subfolders, or maybe 2. The lib subfolder, we will put our jar, in this case this jar, another subdirectory named libx, and we will put all the dependency jars. It means all the jars listed here, and another directory that we don't will use here, which is native. So when you install the Flume, you define some variables like Flume home. For example, in my case, Flume home is defined to point here, so I will move here to show you all the files that I have. It's possible that you don't have this directory. In that case, just create with a makedir plugins d, etc. I want to do that because I have now. So just to show you, plugins d. Oh, I don't have installed 3. Don't worry. And look at this. I have a folder named Morphline. I create this folder, and inside of Morphline I have 2 subdirectories. One is lib, in which is listed the jar, in this case all, and in libx I have all of the dependencies that are needed to run that plugin. When we start FlumeNG, the first step, or one of the first steps that FlumeNG does, is look this directory in order to load all the plugins that we need to run our Flume properties or Flume agent. Now that we created all the needed jars and moved all the jars and the plugin into our plugins directory into Flume, it's time to insert or plug or plugin into our Flume code. I will remove this. You can find all the code in the blog that I will put in the description of this video. So the first step, as you know, as always, is define all the component, the source, the sinks and the channel, and then connect the source with the channel, in this case with channel M, with the source 1, and the sink with the channel. I will use, as remember, I will use the netcat for the source, define it into the local host, and also I will listen in the port 4444. This is the interesting part, in which I will configure the interceptor for the source as Morphline interceptor. Look at this property, it's just interceptor. The next property is Morphline interceptor type, which need to be set with this value. This is the full qualified class name in Java. And the next step is define where will be our Morphline file configuration. I will put the configuration file relative to the path in which I will run, and actually that will be the path in which I will save this file. And look at this. I will display this property Morphline ID. I set to this value, but basically it's because inside to our configuration file we can have several Morphlines, and it's needed to specify which Morphlines we want to use. Well, the next properties that I will set here is the type of the channel, which is memory, and I will save all my output, or the sinks will send will storage the output into an HDFS, which I have configured properly in my machine. As always, take in view these properties, and the folder will in the HDFS will be this. This is the prefix, the suffix, and an extra data, like for example HDFS use prefix, which means the thing will add this character when it's writing in the file. And okay, now I will save this file. Let's save Flume. Let's name Flume with Morphline. And now it's time to create. I will close some files. Now it's time to create the Morphline, Morphline files. I will copy and paste the code that is in my site. It's not the JSON properly, but I will use. Oh no, I know we'll use JSON syntax here because it's very ugly. It's similar to JSON, but it's not a JSON file. You can find some difference, but look at this. The Morphlines consist in an array of objects. I will explain an overview because all this code is comments and is available in my site. And actually, is let me show you before to continue. It's very similar to this code, but I adapted in order to be an interceptor instead to be a sink. So coming back here, look at this. You can have several objects here, and it's need to define an ID. Inside every object, you can have a list of commands. Remember that Morphline will execute command in a sequentially way. Remember this flow in which the source receives events or is listening events and sent to the channel processor, and then the channel processor send the batch of events to be treated with the interceptors. In this case, will look like this. A netcat source listen for new logs, events. Actually, this example is adapted from the Cloudera post, so the event that I will use is a log event, looks like this, and the Morphline interceptor will process every line or every batch of the log lines and will apply a series or a set of commands. The first command will be a read line, which will produce a record by every line in the log. The second command is grok, which is used with a regular expression. Morphline comes with a set of prepared regular expressions to be used, and it's very useful. The third command that I will use is convert timestamp. You will see what I try to do. And before to send this to the sync, I will convert the record, the output of the convert timestamp, which will be a record. I will convert to an abro record, and the last command will be write abro to my array. And you will see that this will send by the sync to an HDFS storage and will store the output of this chain of commands. Back into the Morphline config file. This is how looks the Morphline conf file. Behind the scenes, a Morphline conf file is translated to Java code or is executed in a Java machine. So this is translated to Java bytecode. So you will see things like logs. Actually, it uses S4 FLG to log outputs, and as I mentioned previously, grok command, which will use a dictionary. In this case, this is my relative path. The path should be relative or absolute, but in this case it's relative to the file, to the conf file, and the expression which will take the some definition of this dictionary and will save the values into these fields. The next step, I repeat, you can check the comments and also what you want into my log or into the Cloudera blog. The next command is convert timestamp, which comes in certain formats and will convert to these other formats. The last step is applied to abro command in order to get the output record from this command and convert to an abro record. I just add another log debug, and this will write an abro to byte array, and this will be in charge to put the record into HDFS. I will save this file, Morphline, I think that is test conf. Yes, I will replace, because the name of here is Morphline test. So now it should be ready to be executed. Let's go here, and I will move to the folder in which is the Flume property file. It's not this. Tutorials. Remember to run a Flume file is flumeng agent conf file, which is Flume with Morphlines. I should define the name of the agent that I want to run, agent 1, and the loggers file, logger, info level, and console, and some properties to the Java virtual machine, defining the amount of memory, and that is. Now it's starting the flumeng. Should load all the configuration defined here, and should load actually the Morphline plugin and the conf property file. Okay, the port is ready. The source is listening in the specified port and host. Now it's time to test our source. Let's check. I will send this string by using an echo and a pipeline. Look at this. This is the number line of the log. This is the defined date and time, and another extra data here. I will create a pipeline with netcat, sending by localhost to the specified port, which is 4444. If everything goes okay, this should be listened here. Oh, okay, now I see what happened. I forget to start my cluster, but don't worry, I will start all. This will start my HDFS and Hadoop, and I will try again. Okay, one thing is that let me check it. Still having some errors, but I think that this error is useful to show you something. Let me open this. Look at the time. I will open the HDFS browsing. The folder, remember that the folder in which I store the event is tmp flume, and yes, it's saved. Why save the data if I have some errors? Well, let me back here. When I send some data to the source save this data into the this data into the channel by the channel processor, as you can see here, and that data will will be stored by some time in the channel, in this case in memory. Remember this, I defined the channel type as memory, and it doesn't mind if I have some errors in the sync. Actually, all this related error is with the sync. I send the data and that data was stored into the channel until the sync poll the channel in order to get that data and send to the final destination which is the HDFS. I had errors. I started the cluster, the HDFS cluster, or pseudo cluster mode actually, and in that case the sync start again pulling the data and then put that data into the HDFS store. Let me show you. I will download this. And as you can see, I have saved this. Okay, and trust me, this is the real file. I have some similar file here, but by the hour you can see that this file was saved this time that I run the file. So this is how works a Morphline file, and actually I showed you too how works when some of the components fails. In this case the syncs fail. The information, the data events or the information is stored actually in the channel until the sync start to work again, and that's it. It's a little long video, but I hope to be useful for you. In that case, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel and share with your friend. Thank you for watching my video. I'll see you next time, and bye bye.